What's going on, guys? Gilly Deltres here, creator of Under the Flesh, Pistolet à l'air, Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, and the Deep Dark. I'm joined by Ronald Christian, and we are doing some Star Wars Mandalorian spoiler rant for the first episode. If you haven't seen it already, don't tune in if you don't want to hear any spoilers. Me and Ron, we kind of talked about what we liked originally with the Mandalorian. Now we're going into full-blown spoiler territory.
Yep. I loved it. I thought it was the feeling that I got after I watched the first episode was like, oh my God, I remember this feeling that I had when I watched anything Star Wars. I've been missing this feeling for like ever. The last time I felt that was probably Rogue One. The movie Rogue One.
Rogue One definitely had
Last Jedi.
Yeah, the Rogue One definitely had a Star Wars feel for sure.
Oh, for sure. Like, there's no doubt about it. It captured that vibe of Star Wars for me.
So the Mandalorian, it's like you were happy. Jumped in.
I was incredibly happy with the first episode. It was really cool. And the Mandalorian himself, I've always liked Mandalorian characters. I'm a big fan of Boba Fett, and in the Clone Wars and in the Rebels cartoon, they really dive into the Mandalorians in a deep way, and it's rich and it's awesome. Mandalorians are just cool, they're just awesome, And I love that the show centers around one. It's really great.
Yeah, I think for me, I also love the Mandalorian culture. My first real foray into anything Mandalorian was with Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the video game. Yeah, that was set 3,000 years, I guess, before A New Hope or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they had this one character. His name is Canderous Ordo, and he was this big badass, and he was a Mandalorian. He was never afraid of anything. Just love how he talked. I'm like, there's something about Mandalorians that I like.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett is one. He's a cult character. We already know. Of course, his death is just another thing. Is it really his death now? I don't know.
I don't know. I heard rumors that this show was going to shed some light on that. So we'll see.
I don't know. And my thing is just, it was so cheesy how he died. And I get it. Maybe he wasn't no one intended him to be an awesome character. But when you're walking around with that kind of armor, you're looking like a badass.
Yes.
And the Mandalorian, this character, I'm going to tell you, when I saw the show, I didn't have high hopes because I just haven't with the way things have been going with Star Wars lately in Disney. I just had no high hopes. But at the same time, that Star Wars, that impulse in me for wanting to dive into something is burgeoning. It's just it's pulsating. I need to get it's something. It's I need something. Well, and Mandalorian was that for me, that itch that I needed to scratch. And the Disney Plus, I didn't want to jump in. I kind of another reason because you don't have all the episodes at once. That's another thing I hated when this show was done. It's just okay, what? It's you don't have the other episode. You got to literally wait, and it's a slow torture. And that's not how I like viewing my shows. I like binging. I get more of the story that way. It's more current for me because I go one to the other and I get lost in this journey.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to watch them individually when they come out, and then after I do that, I'm going to binge watch the whole show in one or two sittings.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, I say it's doing that. It's you're watching it a lot because you just you want the experience. You want to have that binge watching experience. So we're watching it because it's a new episode. Okay, fine, we got to wait. And I know why Disney did this, but here's the thing: if you got content and it's going to be up to snuff, you could put it all out there. You're not hurting your bottom dollar. Hopefully this won't be a thing. Hopefully, after this one, I get people could probably wait till the Mandalorian is already finished and then get their free trial and cancel it. But here's the thing: if the Mandalorian season 2 comes out and you put it all out there, and the content is that good, people are going to want to just hook to it. Yeah, they're not going to mind paying the fee because they just know you're guaranteed this bona fide good content.
All right, tell me what were some of your favorite parts in the pilot episode, the first episode?
I love the slow paced, how everything was just in the beginning. It had this really Western type.
Yes,
you got the bar. It's the cantina. but it's not bustling the way we know in the cantina in like A New Hope, where you have that. It's just like
it's very quiet, very subdued. Yeah,
ominous. It's foreboding. There's some mercenaries having some talk. They're hustling some dude out for some credits, and all of a sudden, the Mandalorian comes in and things just of course they heat up. They don't. He's just so quiet, stoic, just not. You can't. No expression under the mask. But he, of course, in true Mandalorian fashion, he lays it down.
He lays it down, yeah.
And that person that you think is going to be saved turns out it's one of his bounties that he's working. So I just thought that was so brilliant in how like they're really creating this character. And even though he has a helmet, even though you it's like when you hear his voice, Pedro Pascal, I love that guy.
Yeah,
but he's bringing character through his voice.
Through his voice,
the way he talks, the way he, the way he his speech, the way he goes about. Like, there's something there. There's a presence there. It's on the mark.
And that's difficult to do with a guy that you can't see his expression, But they did it really, really well, I thought.
Yeah, it's not like, Batman is just like, yeah, so, like how Batman talks, like, tell me now, like just like really dark. Or like, it's just, he has a sarcastic wit in some
Exactly. Instances. And a lot of people were complaining about, they don't like that he's kind of funny and sarcastic. I like that about him a lot, actually.
I think it's his character. What do you mean? I mean, what do you want? I don't know if that's a complaint people. I mean, he's a character. I don't know if all Mandalorians are cut and dry a certain way, and we understand they have this war culture that is prided upon. Like, one thing I loved about like the Mandalorian culture is that they're known to be fierce mercenaries. They're known to get the job done because that's just in their DNA. They war with the Jedis. Like even back then, like they warred with the Jedis. You know what I mean? And they even held their own, and they made armor and stuff, and they were able to even beat Jedis. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, like, the Mandalorian is just like, I think you have like the Jedi, you have the Sith, but you have like the Mandalorian, and then their own little cult, and they're just badass. They're just like warring tribes.
They're very, very, very. Also, I love the part where was it the speeder driver tell them to stay off the ice, and he gets killed by the giant walrus thing. I don't know what that was.
That I thought that was hilarious because he just gave like the little heads up, and then all of a sudden, was that the same guy that was telling him, and it just got that creature.
That was when the creature attacked the ship. That was a really cool part.
Yeah, the CGI it's pretty decent. It's not horrible. But there's some nice little nods that I've seen. Oh, give me a sec. Come here, buddy. Let me give you a good night kiss. Yeah. Night. Hi. Hi. Yes. Yeah. So, oh gosh, what was I saying? I got lost track.
You were talking about how there were like little hints, little Easter eggs.
The little nods. One of the nods, I think they're little, Easter eggs. You could definitely I'm calling them nods. They definitely could call them Easter eggs. One of the things I thought was so cute was, what is that? The Jabba the Hutt. He had like this little rat type thing that would laugh and
Salacious Crumb. They're called Kawaki and monkey lizards, I think. Yeah, I think that's what they're called. Yeah.
This is how you're more hardcore than me. I'll give you that. I didn't know what the heck they were called.
Yeah,
but one of the they're like one of the storefronts had one of them roasting,
and then the other guy was like, watching him like, oh
yeah, it was like, are you serious?
Like that.
They're like little stuff like that added character that just showed that
Now here's something obscure. At the beginning when he was taking off with the other guy, right before he went to the bathroom, he says, "Oh, I want to be home for Life Day." Do you know what Life Day is?
Oh, that's a Star Wars thing.
Yeah, that's from the holiday special.
The holiday special, yeah, the horrible holiday special.
Horrible holiday special, yeah. That was their version of Christmas.
Yeah, Life Day. Yeah, I remember that being horrible. I remember that being so that I do remember that.
And also his weapon, the Mandalorian's main weapon with the two prongs, that was very similar, pretty much the same thing that Boba Fett had in the animated segment of the holiday special.
Interesting. You see that I didn't pick up on. I did like the carbonite, like how he had all his bounties in carbonite. I thought that was awesome.
Really cool. Yeah,
I thought that was cool. I love how he got his mark, that fish dude, with the blue face.
Yeah,
that he actually he caught him, and he got he put him in carbonite. I just thought that was so cool that he captures all his bounties, in carbonite.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, what I'm guessing happened is Boba Fett probably did that in Empire Strikes Back, and word got around to other bounty hunters. Hey, this works. You can store your bounties in this way, and not have to deal with feeding them or letting them use the bathroom or attempting to escape.
Yeah,
this is a good way. So he probably had that installed in his ship, and that way he can freeze all his bounties, the ones that captures alive. He can do that with them. So that was pretty awesome. I like his ship a lot. His ship is really cool. I want to get like a model of his ship. I would get that. I would get his ship.
I'm gonna tell you something. I saw the episode. I was very pleased with it. That it left me with a desire to hunt down a damn figure. Yeah. Like I wanted to figure the Mandalorian. Like Boba Fett was one figure I could just never get. Of course, you could pay exorbitant prices on eBay.
Yeah.
But Boba Fett was one of those that I couldn't get. So I figured, okay, the Mandalorian, I'm like, you know what? This is going to be one figure I'm going to get. And when I was looking around, I couldn't find it anywhere in GameStop. I mean, I'm still searching around. There's some other places I'm going to search, but I might have to do eBay. But what I'm trying to say is that it gave me that,
that vibe that you want to get a figure of this guy because he's so freaking cool. Yeah.
He looks cool. I love his character. I love Pedro Pascal as an actor, but I'm saying that his demeanor, even the way he gives out, his vocal output, just under the mask, he's bringing the character to life. He's making him something, and I want to see where they go with the Mandalorian. I think we'll just touch up on one of the cool cameos. Carl Weathers was in here. I thought that was cool.
That was unexpected.
I love their little back and forth banter. They have something with credits there, and how he was going to pay him. I didn't know too much of that, but what I'm saying where they're going is that he has to get this target, and it's this target that apparently could be a key for the Empire. The Empire's rebuilding, or it could be, what else could it be? Because the reason why I bring this up is because then we had this droid in here that was also a bounty.
IG-11, he was
IG-11. And cool. I love the dynamic between IG-11 and the Mandalorian. Like, I just love their back and forth. Yeah. I just love, but now what got me so interested in the end of this first episode is because, again, they have a cool moment how they meet and how they just,
I love. It made me laugh how IG-11 kept on wanting to commit to self-destruct.
Exactly.
And it was like, no, stop that.
And I like that he cared about him enough to not want him to destroy himself because that's what more to his character. He's like, hey, we can get out of this.
Yeah. And the whole part with the distraction, he got out there with the heavy gun and he shot all the other guys. That was really, really cool.
That was a great moment. He got that mini gun. He's letting it loose. The comedy in here was pretty good. I like also the fact where he meets some person and he has to break in some type of alien. This alien mount.
Oh, it's almost like the Ugnug, the guy that kept on saying, "I have spoken." Or
But how he said he had to learn it for some reason, and the Mandalorian didn't want to he was going to try, but for him it was a waste of time. But when the dude said, "Hey man, Mandalorians, for centuries they broke in these creatures and they had a good connection with them, a good rapport. It's a thing." And when he knew, man, it's part of my culture, that, he made it his mission to get on it and try to break in that mount, and it worked out and it was good. So I thought that was a cool way to show his character. Yeah. The fact he didn't want IG-11 to destroy himself, and they were kind of bonding. I was like, wow, is he going to have this little ragtag group of bounty hunters with him, which I thought would be cool. But then again, after they go through all this craziness, we get to the point where
let's talk about the Yoda baby.
So the Yoda baby is his bounty. The bounty is, and I saw it coming because I saw this little capsule thing, and I'm like, it's a baby in there. I'm like, there's no doubt it's a baby. What it never slipped me, it was going to be a Yoda baby. I don't think it's actually Yoda.
No. But that's what we call it because we don't know the name of the species.
Yeah, the rays. And it's 50 years old, but it was a baby. It was the most adorable thing. It looked like Yoda, and it was this little cute thing.
Yeah, it was adorable. Like I'm almost positive that Disney's gonna be selling plush dolls of that thing. Like,
I don't know if I'm gonna get a plush doll of it, but maybe.
maybe if you're a little guy, maybe he'd like it.
It looked cute. Okay, It looked cute. It was a baby, for goodness sake. Even though it's 50 years old, it's a baby. They age differently. Yoda's species ages differently.
Yoda was 900 years old, so.
Yeah, he's in his 900. So I'm curious to know what the key is to this baby and how it plays into the Empire. And, of course, if it's like a Force-sensitive baby, because that species has to be really attuned with the Force, or if it's something along the lines of, well, here's the thing. IG-11 wanted to kill it. So you have one bounty that was sent for the bounty, but to kill it, and you have you have the Mandalorian instructed by the Empire who specifically wanted it alive. So who's asking to be killed? That I have no clue.
That's we don't know. We don't know. That's a good who wanted it dead.
Right. So what I'm saying is that we have a lot of lore here. We have some Easter eggs from the old Star Wars. It's really picking up. The first episode was like 40-something minutes. I loved every minute of it. I saw on Twitter you were saying something about the music. You weren't crazy about the music?
Well, you know what? In the first episode, I wasn't
awesome.
crazy. In the first episode, I wasn't crazy about the music. But then after I saw the second episode, then it started to come together. The music really started to come together for me. And by the second episode, I really dug the music, and I like the music now, and it's really good. So
I still yet to watch the second episode. I'm definitely going to catch up.
Yeah, you need to because there's a lot of stuff that I want to say to you that I can't.
Just stop talking right now. Just stop talking right now, okay? Because all I'm going to say, one thing I'm upset about is that you told me it was 30 minutes, so you ruined my day just with that. I thought it was going to be. I'm thinking these are 40 to 45-minute episodes.
That's what I thought too.
So if this is a 10-episode series and its first episode's 45 minutes, the rest are 30. Hopefully the last episode's an hour or something like that. But if that's what it is, I'm kind of disappointed at that.
All right, but the thing is, though, the way I see it, the way that I choose to see it is, it was only 30 minutes, right? But it was really strong 30 minutes. When you take into account, Last Jedi was 2 hours, and it was 2 hours of garbage.
Yes, it was.
So you have to look at it from that perspective. You have to quality over quantity. The way that I'm saying it, I'd rather see this 30-minute episode than a 2-hour crap, Star Wars movie.
Yeah, and the Star Wars movie you're paying for, but for Disney Plus, I'm paying X amount of money a year.
Yeah.
I want a 45-minute episode, for goodness sake. I thought that was standard.
And
I thought that was standard.
And also this series seems to be serialized as opposed to episodic. So the second episode is kind of a continuation of this episode.
Right. I just hope there are at least 20-something episodes per season if they're going to be 30 minutes now.
I don't know how long they're going to be. The first one was longer. I don't really know the length of them. They might differ in length. I don't really know for sure.
Yeah, I guess the third episode will really, if this is something like each episode has a little story and however it concludes. But I mean, that's one thing that I'm just curious about. Other than that, what is your other speculations on this Yoda baby thing?
I've heard some pretty wild theories. I read some pretty wild theories online. I read that someone that said that it's the reincarnation of Yoda. And then I read somewhere else that it's Yoda from the past. Somehow Yoda time traveled. There were some elements to the Force introduced in Star Wars Rebels.
So this timeline of the Mandalorian, this takes place between Rogue One and Force Awakens?
No, Rogue One took place before the first movie. Before
my bad.
New Hope.
I'm thinking.
So
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi
and Force Awakens.
Yes.
This is
So yeah. So there was an element in the Star Wars Rebels show that could potentially make time travel possible. You have to watch that show and that episode to understand what I'm talking about. But I guess time travel is not outside the realm of possibility, but the way they did it on Rebels is different and interesting. I'll let you.
I don't know if it's going to be. Yeah, I don't know if time travel. I don't want to get into the time travel thing. Hopefully, that's not the case.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully not. But I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, it can just be a lost member of Yoda's species that we never knew about. You know, and also when you think about it, doesn't this so this ties into to the game, actually, because in the game, Cal is trying to find Force-sensitive children, right?
Well, okay, so this is when you said that, you kind of hit on why I'm kind of also upset about this now that I'm thinking about it. Because this is turning out to be so good, and at least from the first episode for me. And then the timeline is between Force Awakens
and Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. And for me, Force Awakens, it's trash. The Last Jedi
is garbage.
Trash. Rise of Skywalker, I have zero hopes for.
Uh-huh.
So my thing is, how do we make this cool-ass Mandalorian character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, what's his story? And, like, how does he fit into whatever's going on with The Force Awakens? Because for me, that is just, like, whatever's going on here, I don't think it's going to be amplified in a way that makes you can't make the canon any more interesting after the fact because it's just trash.
Let me ask a question. Would you rather the Mandalorian be directly connected to those or have very little to do with those?
I'm at the point where I don't even want it to be connected at all. That's just, and I'm just trying to figure out, like, this Force baby, this Yoda, whatever, like, it's never going to be anything important because we never see them in the movies unless you have to explain in a different entity or in a different way how this is important and to how it leads into The Force Awakens, which I could care less about. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's always cool when you have these shows and they lead into, like, something and you kind of like, yeah, that, like we're saying Rogue One, it filled in a big plot hole, right? Yeah. So it kind of happened before. What you said?
Well, I mean, it's to the point now, like, okay, so this week was the big week for Star Wars and me. Like, Mandalorian and the Jedi Fallen Order game came out in the same week. I was freaking wasted way too much money on Star Wars figures this week also. And I mean, but when you think about it, both of these things are very disconnected from the sequel, from Force Awakens and
now here's the thing. I don't mind that. I like that, but my thing is, how are you going to keep this going within whatever's going on in Star Wars that's becoming the big mess that it is? And the newer Star Wars, because it's like this, it's like you telling me Rey is the last Jedi, and it says like she really is the last Jedi. Like, for me, you have universes, my dude. You have planets. You were talking about a multiple universe. You telling me no, there can't be a secret order of Jedi somewhere, like Luke Skywalker's the last one. And it's like that's why I have a hard time enjoying this, because it's like there has to be more than one, right? And that's why I like the game so much, at least Fallen Order. Was it Fallen Order, Fallen Empire?
Yeah, Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order.
Fallen Order, right? So it's like we have this Cal Kestis character who's a Jedi living in secret, which is extremely interesting to me. You know what I mean? And, like, if that works. So I think when you have stories and they're not connected to the main trash heap that is the new Star Wars movies, but you can make them epic in scope enough to where there's high stakes and maybe there's this other threat that kind of could parallel a real threat. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I just feel like when it was the Empire, it was just badass. You just know they didn't play, right? There was a hierarchy there, right? Even Vader, respected Palpatine. There was a hierarchy there, right? When Vader did something, it meant business. With the Fallen Order, right? It's just like, how did this come into? How quickly did you come together? But then again, it's just you're in such disarray. Who was leading it? Was it Snoke? Because he's a piece of trash. We saw him a little bit in part 1, but then he's just like he gets killed in part 2. It's just like, really? What? You know what I'm saying? And then Kylo Ren, weren't you the leader? But then Kylo Ren turning into this big man baby, crybaby, angsty, with his hormones all over the place. It's like, what? You so wishy-washy. You know what I mean? It's like a joke. And there's no order. There's no structure there for me to just be like, wow, we really got to watch out for these guys.
Well, Rian Johnson ruined it with there's no
right. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, so what structure we're getting in such a good show like this and we're getting excited about it. But when my brain's telling me somehow this is going to connect with the Force Awakens, like I don't even see how that is. It's like I don't even want it to connect to it. This is not, and then I'm not even a hardcore fan, but I'm just telling you that it's just I don't. It's just like whatever you're feeding me in the Mandalorian. How is it going to be so? How is it going to hold up when we got to just digest this? You know.
What if it doesn't? I'm okay. I'm okay with it not connecting.
I'm okay with it not too. But my question is, how would you become that good and so big in its own? And you're kind of wondering, okay, well, if this is because you're going to be watching the Rise of Skywalker in the back of your mind, like, okay, the Mandalorian, this is going on, this is happening. But like, you get what I'm saying? Like, if it's the last movie, like, you need to just put a stake in it. And like the next Star Wars movie needs to be something that either complements what the Mandalorian is trying to do, so we can go into maybe a new story and forget about Rey and forget about like whatever you try to do. It just didn't work. And, take the L on that. And
This brings up a point I was trying to make. Some reviews and some people saying, "Oh, they're not going to watch The Mandalorian because it's connected to Disney Star Wars, and no matter how good it is, it's still set in that continuity." And I get where they're coming from, but the way that I see it is, I don't know. I just don't get that kind of mentality, that boycott anything, even if it's good, even if they're trying, because The Mandalorian is good and the people involved in it care about Star Wars, and I can tell based on the first 2 episodes, you know, and I get that, you know, just because they're done by Disney, just because Kathleen Kennedy had anything to do with it, just because, you know, it is technically in the same continuity, you shouldn't punish the show because it's a good show. It's a good show. Just give it a chance.
I get that, but this literally just I didn't plan to have this conversation. This is literally just me thinking about it. And this is how I think as someone who creates stuff, as someone who enjoys, you know, my time and content. Like I'm enjoying this, and the more I'm enjoying this, I'm trying to understand. Okay, where are we going with this? And it's just like I didn't plan for this. It's like I'm now thinking about how this connects into the Force Awakens, and I'm like cringing right now because like, what could you possibly building up that's so powerful or our storyline is so great? I don't see a benefit in tying it into anything with the newer Star Wars movies. Like I don't.
What if it doesn't? If it doesn't, I'm okay.
My thing is, if it doesn't, you have to, because Star Wars is what it is, and we don't want it to die out, right? Its plot has to continue in a way where if we're getting another Mandalorian, like this is like an awesome sub story that's literally happening behind what's going on with the Force Awakens, but having the same type of gravitas, you know, like the same type of stake, just the same type of impact.
This takes place, you know, right after Return of the Jedi. It's because Force Awakens takes place 30-something years after Return of the Jedi. So, you know, it's far enough removed from Force Awakens where they can tell their own story without the other movies stepping on their toes.
Exactly. Now, this is the thing. Is it going to be just like a one-shot deal and that's it? Because, again, we're going to get hooked on this Mandalorian character. We're going to want to know what's going on with him. As anyone who enjoys a story, you feel me?
Yeah, I'm almost positive they're going to have more than one season. I'm pretty sure.
And and like I said, I like how it's going. And I think it could work. But it's like now I'm getting a little down.
Really?
Yeah, and it's because it's like I know The Force Awakens was trash. I know, I get it, and I have no hope for, you know, that last Star Wars movie. But I do have hope for Star Wars as a fan, and I kind of like the original trilogy. And I'm trying to figure out how can we
hold on. Okay, so you think that about The Mandalorian, but when you add the game to it, doesn't it give you even more hope?
I love what the game's doing because it's a separate storyline, and it shows you like the Jedis are still around. And I think if you could keep that going, but without tying it into like a Kylo Ren or tying it to like these characters that are just not fleshed out well or that I don't care about, then we're good. You get what I'm saying? Like, and to do that would be like you have to build up a real powerful antagonist through these shows or through the game in a way, right, that could overshadow the garbage of Star Wars that is now. Because then you could be like, people that, again, this is where like, why do I have to play the games or watch a TV show to get something out of this? This is where I think where the fans, if they do this and you have this major antagonistic force, could be the driving force in like the resurgence of like the next spate of Star Wars movie that's not connected to Skywalker or like you get what I'm saying? To the core of the known trilogy. But you have to do that in a way where you, like I said, I don't know how I didn't get too far in the Fallen Order. But that time frame happened after The Last Jedi.
No. The time frame for the game is after Revenge of the Sith, but before New Hope, before the first Star Wars movie. So it's in that time where Darth Vader is still hunting the Jedi.
Darth Vader's out. Okay, and that's this is why I like the game so much, because the fact that you're trying to vanquish all remaining Jedi. That's a great storyline, right? Yeah. So whatever this story is, and when I'm done with it, how does it leave the universe in a way that, you get what I'm saying?
Okay,
it's like, okay, we could have a lineage of a new storyline that could continue into the newer movies. Because that's a problem too when you have something like Star Wars, they have to connect somehow. And then since we have such a rotten apple on that tree that we don't want to connect with in the newer Star Wars movies, right? And the latest trilogy that Disney's been doing, the Solo, you don't want, it's like a bad taste in it. You want nothing to do with that, but you want the series to come back to a good spot. Okay. So how do you take something like The Mandalorian and the Fallen Order games, which were in two different timelines, but coalescing into one timeline? But when we know that timeline is just like
garbage,
ridiculous trash, garbage, a bonfire of hopelessness. What do you do? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, is it? That's where I'm at. I'm at this conundrum now where I didn't even expect to get, but I'm like, are these going to be within their own little storylines? But then, like, because we're talking about Jedis, right? We're talking about something that you're already broadcasting. Rey is the last Jedi, right? You're already broadcasting like she's the one, and it's just like, but then you're in another story. You're showing me this Force-sensitive baby Yoda, and then you're showing me
a list of Force-sensitive children,
yeah, with the Force-sensitive children. So it's like there's got to be a convent. There's got to be some type of haven where there's Jedi actively training, and they're in their element, but they're not exposed. But at the same time, there's a Sith element or something that knows of them and is trying to find them out. All while you have this paltry excuse of a war that is between Rey and, you know what I mean? So we have something bigger bubbling underneath the surface, and that could kind of fix things, I think. That's what I want. That's all that I want.
Yeah.
And I just hope it could get there. Oh, man.
All we can do is wait to see, man.
This is where these are going to get real interesting, because this is just hanging in the back of my head, but
yeah.
Anyway, guys, anything else you want to throw in for the spoiler rant?
No, I pretty much said all I want to say.
Anyway, guys, Gilly here. I have 2 books out. Definitely check them out. Galactic Rodents of Mayhem and The Deep Dark. The links are in the description. If you're watching if you've seen The Mandalorian, the first episode, what are your thoughts? Drop in the comment below. Also, let us know what you think as far as The Mandalorian. Like, could it fit within the timeline we're getting, and how do you see it working, within the abomination that's been the later Star Wars movies? That's just been, another disaster. What are your thoughts on the Star Wars franchise, kind of like with these new separate properties we're seeing with The Mandalorian and then with the video game Fallen Order, which are very narrative heavy, tying into the lore? How do you see things overall? Do you see like these cool separate stories overarching into something that's bubbling underneath the surface within the crappier new Star Wars trilogy, giving us some type of hope for a new Star Wars storyline that can continue moving forward? Or do you see these additions as just self-contained within their own things with closure, and ultimately we're still left with the nasty taste in our mouth that is the later Star Wars movies. You know, let us know in the comments what you think. What are your thoughts on The Mandalorian? And as always, I'll be on Ron's channel for our episode 2, just thoughts. We'll just talk about overall thoughts. We won't go into anything spoiler rantish. That will be when we'll bring it back to my channel. We'll just alternate and hop. But we're definitely going to give you some Star Wars talk.
The next couple of weeks,
what we're looking for. Yeah, we'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks. And,
Gilly has to catch up with me in the game. He has to play a little bit more before we do a video about the game.
Yeah, because sadly, this is me being a dad, and I don't have the much free time as I would like, and I'm getting envious that my pal Ron here has, nights alone, nestled up on the couch with his headphones, or maybe not with his headphones, but playing the Fallen Order. I don't know how far he's up to, but
Gilly doesn't want to know. He doesn't want me to tell him how far I am, and I'm not going.
Yeah, you probably beat the game already. Don't even talk to me. Don't even talk to me. But yeah, I'm just messing around. We're definitely gonna have to talk about the Fallen Order. Gameplay impressions, we could probably do that on Rod's channel, and then once we get to the point of where we both beat the game, we could talk about the story and how it ties into continuity and everything. But
dude, second sister's awesome, isn't she? She's the coolest.
Who?
The second sister.
Yeah, she's really cool. I like how you have like a little encounter with her in the beginning. I thought they did that very well. I was actually hoping they did that, and they did. Because again, I was just thinking, that's it. I mean, come on. And I'm like, okay, good. Now I'm happy with that. But yeah, guys. Anyway, definitely like, subscribe if you can. Let us know what you think on The Mandalorian, and we'll catch you on the next video.
Later,
guys.